Vanessa, where are we?
We're at Brighton Primary School.
Excellent. And who's the client?
So the main client for this project is Brighton Primary School, as well as the Department for Education. But we work under a company called Sensum, who act as a client project manager for this project.
Excellent. So we're going to shoot today's video in 360 degrees, so you can have a look around and scroll around and see what we can see. Vanessa, what's the need for this project?
So this project comes under the South Australian Government for the major school upgrades. So this is part of the modular schools being built across regional and metropolitan South Australia. Here at Brighton, we're building a modular building which includes 8 learning areas, 1 service learning area, teachers' prep room, breakout spaces, and bathrooms, which will form one of the new buildings for the school.
Sounds very interesting. Let's have a look around site. Okay, Vanessa, what things are really important to the client on this project?
Yep, being a school and working on the construction site during school hours and school term, one of the most important things has been the health and safety of students and staff at the school. So we've sort of mitigated some of this by keeping noisy works down to outside of school hours, as well as making sure we don't have any deliveries to site during pick-up and drop-off hours. So yeah, that's one of the main ones. As well, I'd say in terms of the design of the building, some really important things have involved meeting the requirements of both the school as well as DFE, which is the Department for Education. So some of these aspects have included really good natural light throughout the building, really good ventilation, and having the provision for interactions between classrooms, which is where we've installed big sliding doors so that we can make 2 small classrooms into 1 bigger classroom if they ever want to do that.
Excellent. What is your role on this project?
So I am a site assistant.
And how long have you been working on this project?
So I've been working on this project since project commencement, which was in late November, early December. Being a modular project, we are moving quite quickly on the project. So we build things in the warehouse and then construction on site goes really quickly. So we are due for practical completion in June and it's now May.
Excellent. Let's continue having a look around. Thank you. What degree are you studying at uni?
So I'm studying a degree in civil and architectural engineering.
And how is the work experience that you're getting here helping your degree?
I'm finding that I understand some of the content a lot more at uni because I can see it sort of live on site. And having worked with some engineers, I can also understand why we learn what we learn. So yeah, I've been finding it really interesting. I'm also learning a lot of problem solving, which I found really useful in some of my design projects at uni. So I'd say it's helped me quite a lot.
And I guess another question, are you enjoying what you're doing here?
Yeah, I love it. I'm very happy with the company. I've learnt so much and I feel like I'm just developing a lot into my career as well.
Excellent. Let's continue having a look around. Okay, Vanessa, we're now on the eastern part of this site. What tasks do you do in a typical day on this project?
Yep, so typically as a site assistant, a lot of my tasks would involve document control. So I make sure all of our drawings are up to date so that we're working to the latest documentation on the project, as well as keeping our workplace health and safety management plans up to date for the project and for the site. At the moment, because we're nearing practical completion, a lot of my time is taken up by the O&M manual, which is our operations and maintenance manual. So this is a manual that we pass on to the client at the end of the project, which basically details operations, maintenance, and the warranties for everything installed in the build.
Excellent. Looking now at workplace health and safety, what sort of issues have you had to deal with and what control measures were implemented?
So towards the beginning of the project, during our early works, we came across what we thought was an asbestos pipe during our earthworks. So of course the first thing we had to do was check that it actually was an asbestos pipe, so we had someone come in to do some testing. And then once that was confirmed, we had to check that it was no longer in use, which it was no longer in use. So then we had to coordinate with the school, with ourselves, with the client, and with a asbestos removalist contractor to get rid of the pipe so that we could continue with our construction. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Make sure you have a look around and see everything we can. Lots of work happening. and we'll continue walking around site. Vanessa, we're on site with a modular construction. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that actually means?
Yeah, definitely. So there's two kinds of modular construction. The first one is volumetric, which is where you sort of build aspects of the building in sort of rooms as the modules, so volumes of the construction are pre-made in a warehouse and brought together and put together on site. We're doing what's called panelized modular. So this involves, for this particular project, we've been pre-building the structural timber in a warehouse and then bringing it to site and installing it in what we call timber cassettes. So they're like panels of structural timber.
So this is like construction IKEA style?
Basically, yeah.
Excellent. Let's continue having a look around.
Not every site that I've been on has its own beach volleyball court. Can you tell me what it's doing here?
So this is just, Brighton is near the school. Brighton is near the beach, so I think this is just one of the aspects that the school had for the kids. It was very dearly loved. It was supposed to be, originally in the scope, it was supposed to be demolished, but sort of towards the beginning of early works and construction, the school decided to keep the volleyball court. So that's meant we've had to change some of the direction of our construction as well as the swale that we're building. But yeah, so volleyball court near the beach at a school.
You won't see too many others of those. That's fantastic. Vanessa, what other challenges has this project had to overcome?
Yeah, so I talked earlier about this being a panelised modular build. This is one of Sarah's first panelised modular projects, at all really. So I think one of the main things for us that I noticed was the relationship between the pre-made structural timber and the conventionally built structural steel, so making sure that there were no clashes in between them. So that was a bit of a challenge in the design process, which meant that we had to use a lot of digital 3D programming softwares to check the interaction between the timber and the steel and make sure that there were no clashes prior to commencement.
So being modular by nature, it's obviously getting put together very quickly on site.
Yeah.
And hence the short time frame.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, thanks very much. We'll continue having a look around site.
Okay, Vanessa, what have you learned from your experience on this project?
So being on a small site, I've talked about this a lot, but problem solving has been one of the main things that I've learnt in my work experience, especially being a modular project. This is one of the first ones we've done at Sarah Constructions, so it's been a huge learning curve for us, and I've just found it really interesting working with the team and coming up with solutions to overcome, the new modular world.
And last question from me today. What advice would you have for current students who might be early in their degree who are watching this video today?
Take it in its stride, ask lots of questions. One of the most important things I've found in my degree is get to know your lecturers, talk to people. There's no problem with communicating with people and problem solving together. And if you have any guest lecturers, go speak to them and see if they have any advice for you. It's been really valuable for me as well.
Vanessa, thank you very much for showing us around the site today. We really appreciate it. We hope you at home and watching online have also enjoyed looking at this live construction site that really is doing something pretty cool with its modular construction. Thanks again, Vanessa, for showing us around site today.
Thank you.